Hello everyone, my name's Matt Johnston and welcome to The Interesting Times, a political comedy show from the UK. So the big news this week was flags.
One of the first things I said to him is throw your flags away.
I mean, clearly not. No, obviously it was the election of a new pope.
In the last few seconds we have seen white smoke billowing out of the Sistine Chapel chimney. This is breaking news. We have a new pope.
Come on, no, this is C of E country. No, the big news was the 80th celebration of victory in Europe.
This year is the 80th anniversary of VE Day, when victory came to Europe at the end of the Second World War.
And we'll only be talking about one of those stories at the end of the show. And it's not the one you're expecting. Or even, let's be honest, the one we should be doing. No, what we will be talking about is Keir Starmer getting a couple of deals this week. We'll have a look at the India deal in a moment. But firstly, it's the deal with the US. We're the first in the country to make a deal with Trump's America, in spite of his 10% crippling tariffs, making Keir the canary in the coal mine. And the deal was finalised by phone. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. It's just, they worked so hard for this deal. And today of all days, for this deal to be passed, there'll be bluebirds over the wide cliffs of...
Today is a victory day for World War II. We won the war together exactly 80 years ago, so there could be no more perfect morning to reach this historic agreement.
Able to announce this great deal on the same day, 80 years forward, almost at the same hour, and as we were 80 years ago, with the UK and the US standing side by side.
Okay, don't break out the bunting and give a handjob to an American GI for a pair of nylon stockings just yet, because believe it or not, this pair, by comparing this trade deal to the ending of World War II, might, I say just might, be slightly overselling it. So, let's have a look at some of the detail first, shall we? Before we start squeezing each other's hand. So, the first thing to say about this trade deal, this amazing trade deal.
Really important deal, is this great deal. And I'm so pleased that we've got this deal.
It's really good to have got this deal.
For so many years, even as I sat, everybody talked about a deal with, it just seemed like a natural deal. But
it isn't a trade deal. No, Trump doesn't have the authority to make a full trade deal. That would need to be approved by Congress. This is more of a gentleman's agreement. You know, you sign it and hope both parties stick to their word. And yep, good luck with that. So what then is this going to give us?
What's actually been agreed in this trade deal is the 27.5% tariff announced for UK cars is reduced to 10%, but only for the first 100,000 cars Britain exports. That's about the current level of exports. The 25% tariff the US had announced on all steel imports is, for the UK, cut to zero. The 10% tariff remains on all other UK exports to the US. Both countries are allowing in more beef from each other's farmers, but Britain is not changing its food standards that ban hormone-treated beef.
Wait, that's it? I mean, don't get me wrong, that's great if you work in car manufacturing and steel and beef, or if you're an armoured cow that drives a Range Rover. But if you're not, this isn't really going to mean a lot to you. Still, America's a big market. So, what are we getting from the States? Ethanol in beer and as much beef as we can sell each other. Okay, but that's just one deal. And as we know, Starmer made 2 deals last week. The other was with India on Tuesday. Now, for those that don't know, India is pretty big. The largest population of any country, as well as largest democracy and 5th largest economy, forecast to be the 3rd largest by 2028, or by summer this year, depending on how fast Donald Trump can work his magic. It's basically a free trade deal, and it's going to be worth nearly £5 billion a year for the next 5 years. So, pretty good, you'd be thinking. Not according to some people. Which people? Oh, the people that campaigned for Brexit, giving us the freedom to negotiate our own deals with countries around the world, like India.
So Keir Starmer has signed a free trade deal with India. Good, you might think. India, very, very important country, and one with whom we do need closer links and relations. And yet, if you look at the detail, it's truly extraordinary. So a company can transfer workers from India to the UK. Those workers here will not pay any national insurance for at least 3 years.
That double taxation agreement was unfair. It basically encourages workers from India, but does not provide the same benefit to the UK.
So, this is down to something called the Double Contributions Convention, DCC. And what it means is that employees that move between India and the UK only pay national insurance in one country. So the Indians working in the UK will pay it in India, and the Brits in India will pay it here. It's an agreement, by the way, that we have with many other countries, over 50 of them. And it seems kind of wild that clueless Kemi should be so opposed to it. Bearing in mind, while she was Trade Minister, she agreed in principle to it. It also seems kind of crazy that Farage would be so opposed to it, bearing in mind that this is one of his big selling points for Brexit.
What we'd be doing is getting out of political union with Europe and rejoining the world. You know, at the moment, it's incredible, really. We're the 5th or 6th biggest economy in the world, depending what measure you use, and we're actually banned from making our own trade deals with any other part of the world.
Even the Daily Express seems to not know which way to face on this. Not liking Indians not paying all their tax in this country, even if they don't work all the time in this country, but also not liking billionaires not paying all their tax in this country. It's going to be tough trying to keep up. So, 2 deals with economic superpowers in a week. Starmer's not messing about. So what does all this mean for the future economic wealth of this fine country? Not much. But then again, it probably wasn't meant to. This isn't a full trade agreement with the US. That would take years. This is about keeping it relevant to specific sectors of the economy, namely steel and cars, and not giving up our food standards. The Indian deal, as well, is more to do with us buying cheap clothes and shoes, while at the same time opening up India to our whiskey and gin. The biggest win with these deals isn't what they include, it's what they leave out. Certainly for the US deal, no drop in food standards for imports from America, meaning that a trade deal with the EU, fingers crossed, starting later this month, can be easier and far wider ranging, which will upset Farage, Badenoch and the Daily Express, and that, well, for me, and I'm sure for you as well, has to be the best deal. And that's it. No time to talk about what we thought we were talking about before, but we weren't, and we aren't now, except we are, although we aren't really as we don't have time for it. It's this.
I went to meet Leicestershire County Councillors and Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire on Saturday, just gone. And one of the first things I said to them is, throw your flags away. We're not having it. We don't want anybody wearing political lanyards, promoting whatever, and throw all these silly flags we've got flying everywhere. I'd like to see a Union flag there. I'd like to see a St George flag, you know, and possibly the county flag as well.
Okay. And I appreciate that even saying this is going to have people screaming at their telly, laptop, mobile, however you're watching this. But I have to say, I quite like this idea. I do. I think it's pretty neat to have your county flag up on the county council building. And some of these county flags, well, I've got to say, they just rock. For instance, this is Monmouthshire in southern Wales. County Armagh in Northern Ireland. I mean, pretty cool, right? East Lothian? Nice. And can you guess this one? It's pretty self-explanatory. You've got an ox, a ford, and a shire. So, obviously, it's Suffolk. Others are a little less impressive, though. This is my home county of Devon, which looks like a close-up of a green-paned window. And this is Surrey, looking like a psychedelic chessboard. But I'm sorry. Lanyards. People shouldn't be wearing rainbow-coloured lanyards. It seems Lee won't be happy unless everything in the council offices is painted in black and white. Without the black, obviously. And sticking with reform, it's reformatory Andrea Jenkins.
And can you just tell us the issue of tents? That's caused quite a stir as well. And your chairman has said that he's going to look at all legal measures. Is that what you're going to be doing in Lincolnshire to stop asylum seekers getting into it?
I'm standing up for local people. Well, I've seen
how are you going to do it?
It's difficult on the community. It came up a lot on the doorstep. The safety aspect, people not wanting their children to go out because they're worried about the safety.
Setting aside the obvious racist dog whistle fear-mongering, how is taking people out of hotels, where they currently are, which tend to be brick-based buildings and therefore stationary, more of a deterrent to creeping around in the middle of the night than tents, which are noted, you might say lauded, for their temporal nature? And do you remember this?
Your questioning is quite divisive. You're looking into things when it was a little play with words, it was a little joke because of the irony. Do you not understand irony?
The only reason I'm asking is because reform...
Well, it seems Dumb Andrea already has an answer. A recurring answer to facing any tricky questions.
Wanting their children to go out because they're worried about the safety. I'm standing up for local people.
But how are you going to do it?
And sod it. Let's just go for the hat-trick of haters. As Nigel Farage, yes, I know, I'm giving him far too much airtime, but Nigel was quizzed by a reporter about his constant blaming on migrants for the country's woes.
You spoke then about 750 young men.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Mr.
a small
Farage
fraction of the people living in this constituency. Can you really scapegoat them for the problems that people who face?
Do you live in their streets?
Do you live on those streets?
If you live in a street and 10 or 15 young men from completely different cultures move into one of those houses and you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and work on a building site or whatever it is, would you be happy about that?
Do you not think you're just trying to create divisions within a community?
No, the divisions are being created by weak British governments, allowing people willy-nilly from all over the world, undocumented young males of fighting age, to come into Britain in unprecedented numbers.
By the way, unless you live in a street with a hotel or 5, then you aren't going to be hearing too much noise from asylum seekers. And also, what's with this fighting age crap? You never fought in your life. Unless you count not getting a premium bank account, of course. No time to ask after last week's elections, which saw the Tories lose 674 councillors. Are they finished?
I want to ask you about some of the latest opinion polls, because they say very clearly that only you can save the Conservative Party.
Yeah, they're finished. That was GB News talking to Boris Johnson in the Battle of Britain bunker. Still, makes a change from hiding in the fridge, I suppose, and at least he didn't start talking about his bloody book.
It's all in the pages of Unleash.
Until 30 seconds into the conversation. By the way, you probably won't be surprised to know that plenty of copies of Unleash are still available, including some absolute bargains, like this autographed copy in its own case, available for auction on eBay for £125. Act quickly though, because at the moment it has exactly 0 bids. But anyway, what of Johnson's return to the top of the pile of shit?
Her late Majesty the Queen said to me, a very good thing I've never forgotten about politics is really only do things if you genuinely think you can be useful.
Great advice. About 30 years too late for Johnson, but yes, some really good advice there. And what of Johnson's successor?
I think one thing, Kenny is a very...
brilliant, politically astute, a sharp clinical mind.
Interesting.
Okay.
And...
oh, and a conviction politician, honest, fearless.
Original mind.
Yeah, that's the new 3-word slogan for Kemi Badenoch, all right. So, is Johnson coming back to politics?
Not much chance of returning to Parliament as I have, of being decapitated by a friend, be locked in a disused fridge, or reincarnated as an olive, or whatever else it was I used to say.
Ooh, multiple choice, and I do like those options. So, there we go. We can put that one to bed. Boris Johnson is not coming back to Parliament. If he's telling the truth, of course. Thank you all so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed the video, then please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you all soon. Take care.